Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Thank you guys for joining us.
Good morning, afternoon, you guys. Hi.
So, Cindy's going to be with us for a little bit, and then she has some clients to tend to in this one. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is prepared out there and getting prepared.
Yeah, we still got more stuff going on, more of the same with the coronavirus. We know what we know, which isn't a whole lot about it. They're keeping it kind of cryptic, kind of secret, and a little bit confusing. It sounds pretty chaotic, but I think that's done on purpose.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely chaotic and crazy, and we see some familiar names there. Glad you guys are joining us. It's kind of wild right now. You know, it just seeing all this happens. Happening is just kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. It really is mind-blowing. It's so surrealistic. It's like we are in a sci-fi movie. You know, that's what it feels like, doesn't it?
It feels very surreal. Yeah, definitely.
So, guys, we're gonna start by jumping over here. And so here we're looking at 9925. That's the total confirmed cases right now that they are telling us, and we see 213 deaths, 222 recovered, 222 recovered.
Those are nice numbers.
Yeah, 222. Interesting there. Obviously, the big red blob in the middle is ground zero in the Wuhan area, as that big red blob keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you're looking at 9,783 in mainland China, 19 in Thailand, 15 Japan, 13 Singapore, 12 Hong Kong, 11 South Korea, 10 Taiwan, 9 Australia, 8 Malaysia, 7 Macau, still 6 in the US, 5 in France, 5 in Germany, and then we go on down, we see Canada's got 3, Italy 2, Russia 2, UK 2, Vietnam 2. So it is an ongoing situation, and the big news right now is, let's start over here. I'm going to start over here. And so this is a tweet by Anand Rangathian. And his quote is, "Oh my God, Indian scientists have just found HIV virus-like insertions in the 2019 nCoV virus that are not found in any other coronavirus. They hint at the possibility that this Chinese virus was designed. Scary if true." And then he quotes the source, which is, we've been following this source. So again, I think I'm getting so many people sending me videos that are saying, this is bioengineered, and I think most of us think that's the case. I do think most of us think this is definitely bioengineered. I think the question is, was it an accident? Was it released on purpose? Who did release it exactly? Why? That's basically what we're looking at. So this is what we've been following right along. BioRx IV, uncanny similarity of unique inserts in the 2019 nCoV spike protein to HIV-1, GP120 and GAG. So, obviously this is bioengineered. And you got to ask yourself, what type of humans bioengineer these nasty things? Who would do this in the first place?
I don't know. It almost feels like they're not quite human. And if they are human, maybe they're being puppeted or they're being used by something else.
What's wrong with the leadership in this world when, they make up these horrible bioweapons that can wipe out so many people? Horribly. It shows the sickness of the mindset of the world.
It does. And all of the non-action, all the non-action and things about the numbers not adding up and all of the inconsistencies. And I do believe they're starting to stop some planes going into China, but they haven't talked about anything coming out. Yeah.
So I see Bill was mentioning this. School district closes for 2 days after 600 students call in sick. So one of the problems that we have right now is that it's a pretty damn bad flu season in the first place. So many people sick with the flu, and then we have this out there. So, again, it's going to be tough to figure out unless you actually go get tested who has what, and how it's spreading. It's a nightmare situation when you get down to it. It's most definitely, it's a tough one. It is a tough one. And, people are obviously reacting in different ways. Some people are staying cool and calm and just simply preparing. Others are going crazy and almost losing it. I had a friend that was kind of losing it and now is kind of stabilized and okay, did 4 hours of meditation and okay, I'm back now, so that we have to do what we can do to get ourselves in the proper frame of mind so that we're going to respond as best as we can for ourselves and for our families as well.
Right, because if we panic and lose our stuff, we're not going to be any good for anybody. And right now, it's most important to take care of ourselves first. It's the old put the mask on yourself first so that you can help other people thing. And that's really important. And I think it's so imperative not to go insane. I mean, it's not going to help you. It's just going to lower your vibration. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at some tough things and we're not getting very clear answers, but that's where we always go within and look for the answers there, and we will get them. If you sit and if you quiet your mind a little bit, things will come to you as far as what to do. And there's not a whole lot known about this except for, well, there's just not a lot known. We know it's contagious.
Right. So, this school district had like 2,400 people in it. So basically like 1/4, 25% called in sick. So they closed it down. And then over here we see Birmingham area high school cancels basketball games because of flu. It's in Alabama, Ohio. Flu is rampant. At least 19 million Americans sickened by flu so far this season. And as it says, while the coronavirus is getting all the headlines, the flu is making more Americans sick, according to the CDC, of course. And 180,000 of the 19 million have required hospitalization. So far, approximately 10,000 people have died from the common bug, including 68 kids. So the flu is deadly in and of itself. And of course, we have a different type out there now that's very, very scary. And so this is interesting, right? Look at this horseman, right? 80 Britons flown in from China over the coronavirus outbreak have arrived at their accommodation that was today kitted out with bedding, game consoles, and Barbies ahead of their 14 days in quarantine. So the buses carrying the nationals arrive, and they're being carried by the horsemen. Isn't that a little play on words there? As we see some British evacuees making their way in. And over here, this is in China, homes are being boarded up and sealed up with people inside them. They are literally boarding the people in, boarding them in alive. It's crazy. These are the officials coming out and boarding people up in these apartment complexes. Wow, and coming up stairways, boarding people's individual doors shut so people can't get out. Wow, that's just incredible.
It's pretty sick, I mean, boarding people in there alive and they can't get out to get what they need. That's, I hope we never see that here. I don't think we will, you guys. I have a feeling, my intuition is telling me that it's gonna peter out quite a bit as it continues to spread. But Skylar Hout says mineral, MMS. We'll knock this out. Get it before it's gone. Yeah, that's about the only thing we haven't ordered. So thank you for reminding me about that stuff. Really, really good stuff. MMS.
Yeah, we have been, we made a run yesterday. We made a decision and decided we go in the opposite direction. So instead of our 73-mile track to the grocery store, it was like a 90-mile track in the opposite direction. And it was, I think, a good choice because the grocery store literally had, from what we could see, about 6 people working in it, and maybe about 4 or 5 people actually shopping in there. And the prices weren't horrible, a little bit more expensive, but it just felt like it was worth it because we literally came in contact with just only a few people, and nobody seemed to have a clue out there as well, what's going on. In this town that we went to, I don't think it has 1,000 people either, but it does have a grocery store. Yay. So we went and loaded up 2 shopping carts, and I feel pretty good about what we have, and now it's more about starting that growing going. And so we got 6 more grow lights to work with, and got a bunch of pots and stuff in. So that's what we're doing as soon as we get done with our duties here, and we're grow, and that's the next phase as well, because it could happen here too, as far as like Cindy's saying, she thinks she's feeling like when it does hit here full blown, it won't be as bad as we're seeing in China. Again, we don't know. At this point, we don't know if it attacks certain blood types more, certain genetic backgrounds more. It is attacking over there older people more. Again, the average age is like 55, and it's like 73% male. So males in their 50s are getting hit hard, and older people in general. But it might not evolve along that same line. Things can change. So we have to be aware of that. Pretty scary, though, to see people being boarded up in their own homes. So again, something to consider. How would you react if you were boarded up in your own home? Do you have food and water and supplies to get you by? And this one expert says here, and this is out of Fox, once the coronavirus starts to spread, there's no stopping it until it's done. And that's a sobering statement for sure.
Let's see. Barbara wanted that source again for the HIV insert. I think that's already in the description. I'm not sure, Barbara.
Yeah, everything's in.
Yeah, it's all in the description there. And then rosemary is super awesome. MMS is great if you can't get a fresh equivalent of sulfur foods, onions, and garlic. MMS is very expensive. Have info on website. Rosemary is just a wealth of beautiful, wonderful information. That's why I love her in the chat. Thank you again, Rosemary. So yeah, we don't know exactly what we're dealing with, but I can't imagine if I saw them hammering shut my neighbor's door. I'm that kind of person that, oh my God, I would want to let them out. But then think about it. If you do that, you're risking other people's lives. So these folks are in quite a predicament. I really wouldn't want to do that.
No. And so, this is Rosemary's website, and, we don't get any kickbacks or anything from anybody. We don't push any products. We don't try to sell you gold or any sort of things like that. That's just a decision. I mean, we've had offers, but we just don't want to go there, just because I don't like the system. But I do love Rosemary, and I do appreciate her because she's a wonderful person, and she helps people out of her heart too, which is beautiful. She's just a good person. So that is Rosemary's website right there, collard.com. And she does have stuff there as well for shopping. And so teas and different things, different herbal stuff, She's wonderful. And again, she's a naturopath. She's amazing with her iridology. She could look at your eye and tell you exactly what's going on in your body just by looking at your iris. And she helped me with a client that had ALS. And, she gave me a really good indication of what to do with him, and it really helped him. And so, her knowledge really helped me tremendously help a client. She's wonderful. So we love her. Absolutely. She's a great member of this family, and the horses as well. So, yeah. So, check out her site as well. And this is out of Twitter. And it's that same site, and I have all the links already there, and I'll double check, make sure that YouTube posts the links. BioRx IV, we've been following this. This is Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, and they've been doing a lot of work deciphering what's going on with this thing and uncovering things like the RO factor, how fast it's going to spread. And of course, that's been all over the place as well. But this is most definitely, I don't think there's hardly any of us that have any doubts this is manufactured. I think, again, the question is who released it and why did they release it? Or was it a FUPA? Well, you remember that cruise ship? Well, they say it was not the coronavirus. Thankfully, it was just the common flu. So those people have been released, which is, good news, obviously, there. So this is B&O Newsroom out of Twitter, and they do a good job giving us live updates. And here you see Russia reporting its first case of coronavirus as well, even though, they have the border shut down. Of course, they shut down the border a few days ago, and this can stay in the system for 2 weeks without giving you any sort of symptoms. And then from what I was seeing, about 2% of the people won't get sick, period. They just will basically be carriers, be your typhoid Marys of the world with this thing.
Wow, that's scary stuff. Maybe we should do a show on Typhoid Mary. just because it's kind of appropriate right now. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information that we don't have with this, and that's kind of what keeps me scratching my head. It's like, why are they covering up so much? Why are they being so cryptic? Why are they being so evasive?
Because it is something that's manufactured. It is basically a bioweapon, whether it was mistakenly released or purposefully. And, we don't know how nasty this thing is, how many layers there are to it. And here you see Chinese health experts warn patients can get reinfected. Okay, that's scary. That's something that's not always the case. U.S. advises against travel to the country, and the White House was doing a briefing as we were coming on now. And of course, what you're going to get from these briefings is usually going to be way less than what we're picking through, sorting through from global sources, because we know they're always lagging. And whatever the official sources tell us, we've already heard a week ago, 5 days ago, So yeah, this is definitely something that is a game changer too. When it comes to being able to pick it up again, get reinfected, that is definitely not good. And so here you see this line, and this is the latest outbreak, and this is Anhui Provincial Hospital. And look at that line of people waiting to go in to that hospital. Oh my God. And still there are like so many cases of nasty things going on out there with the way people are reacting to this over in China. Virus goes global. Coronavirus confirmed in Rome. Cases surge 3,000% in China. This is Sean Hannity. Wow. This is definitely not something that's just being quote unquote built up. This is something that's not just about fear mongering and trying to herd us into a certain mentality. It's more than that. It most definitely is more than that. And here you see, this is coronavirus information over on Twitter. CDC just made it clear that even if you get a negative test result for the coronavirus, you can still develop symptoms later and still be infected. Depending on how the virus has proliferated at the time of testing, you could have a negative result that is actually false. Wow. And so CDC over here says there's been a 26% increase in reported cases worldwide in the last 24 hours. Most definitely, we're not at the peak yet. And we see over here at a time, 36-year-old man is the youngest fatality so far of the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak. So 36-year-old is the youngest officially from what we are hearing. And Delta has temporarily suspended all U.S.-China flights until the end of April, which is interesting. And we've seen other things tying into the end of April. So, they're looking at things in about a 3-month range here. Again, when me and Cindy were doing our thing, I was saying to her, I think we should prepare, just like the government had said, bare minimum 6 months, and hopefully more than that. So bare minimum 6 months. We should be, you should think in terms of, can you last on your own without getting back out to a store for 6 months?
Mm-hmm. Right. I think we could get by. And what we did is we ordered beans, and those are so growable. I mean, you can just order, you can soak them and then they sprout. They're super easy. So there's also, a lot of things you can do like that. But yeah, I think we're about ready. I would say we could probably go 6 months without needing any assistance. We bought a whole bunch of water filters, because hardly no one could stock up on bottled water that well. And we do have distillers, so.
We do, and we know where there are springs. And even though we're out in the desert here, there are springs. We know, I can think of 3 locations, that have springs nearby. So, that's good. And then, this little town is, it's kind of a little entity to itself. The water comes, from underground. It's not brought in. So it's a self-sufficient little town. The challenge here is the soil is not good, obviously. So, you have to basically grow what you can and utilize the soil as practically as you can. I know a lot of people are trying to make big decisions right now, big decisions about, how are they going to move forward with this situation with their family and trying to get into agreement with your family, which might not always be easy. I've seen a ton of people saying that, their family is just, either they don't realize how serious it is, they're poo-pooing it, oh, it's just another, it's another that. They're just trying to, set you up to go take the vaccines and stuff. Regardless, we need to prepare as best we can. Prepare, So breaking Ontario's new coronavirus case is a woman in her 20s from London who arrived without symptoms from Wuhan area on January 23rd, later admitted to the hospital. And over here, there was rumors of it in New York City, but the health department says no confirmed patient anywhere in 5 boroughs yet. And let's, if we see, the longer it takes before we see a whole bunch of cases developing in the U.S., the better, because maybe this is, you don't know. Okay, so I think we all agree. I haven't seen anybody that says, oh, no, this is natural. Everybody seems to think this is most definitely some sort of bioweapon that somehow got loose, unsure how, why, who. That's the questions. So if that's all the case, this could have different layers to this. And again, it could be much more deadly. There's certain blood types, potentially certain lineages as well. We don't know. So that's all up in the air. Coronavirus Exposed, Part 1. And as you see here, Communist Cover-Up or Pandemic, Bioweapon of Mass Destruction. What is really going on with this? And that is a big question. And here, Reuters, the China virus toll, as far as the deaths, rises to at least 212. As we know, yesterday, WHO finally got, made the declaration. But even at that, they didn't do enough, because really, they should shut down all travel to China, all, period. And should be doing a lot more than what they did. China virus cases may be undercounted, even with 3,000% surge. We just don't know. But again, you got to do what's right for you and your family. And over here, we've been talking about this from the beginning. China accused of burning bodies in secret. They're also been accused of basically just calling it the flu and not the coronavirus flu, or heart attack, or different things, so that we really don't know how many people. We just don't.
No, and some people are talking about colloidal silver, nano silver. I think there's a slight difference with the nano silver. I'm not sure. But yeah, colloidal silver might help some, but I always, always, always recommend that you do your own research. Like someone was asking how much for how long. I don't know. We do like a shot maybe a few times a week, or depending on if someone has a scratchy throat. You can also put it in like a spray bottle, but get an amber or a dark colored spray bottle, and you can squirt it on the surfaces, and that should be effective also. Now, I don't know how well it works on this particular virus, because we don't know enough about it, but silver tends to attack anything that's foreign, and it kind of has an intelligence to it, and that's why I prefer that over antibiotics. Whereas antibiotics will kill everything, silver is not like that. It's going to leave the good guys alone, and it seems to know how to do that. I don't know how.
Yeah, and Rosemary again said last night, I think it was last night, or it might have been this morning, to me, give the dogs silver, which we do. Cindy does that, and puts a little bit of silver in their water as well. Somebody said that they heard there's 10,000 cases in the U.S. now. Obviously, they want to keep us as pacified as possible, so that, they don't want to stir panic, and we shouldn't stir panic. But, hey, Greg, I did check out Paul Cottrell. A couple days ago, I was watching him. I think I covered what he had said. Again, he had said that he thinks this is most definitely something engineered, which, everybody's coming to that conclusion. So the question is, are there layers to it as well? I mean, are we going to go and see different layers? It very well could be. We don't know what it's going to look like moving forward. I would self-isolate as much as possible. That's just me. I didn't really even like going out yesterday. Cindy's leaving us right now, guys, because she has a client she has to go talk to. But we will probably be back on again later on tonight as well together. So I would self-isolate as much as possible. I just think it's wise. And again, that could be a problem with family members as well. Not everybody is taking this as seriously when you get down to it, which can cause a lot of tension. And, that's just something that every family is going to have to deal with on their own basis. But all you could do is just, basically share the information as best as possible with them. And, and then hopefully people will make a wise decision. So here we see, this is out of the Daily Mail. We are facing an unprecedented health threat. CDC issues federal quarantine for 195 Wuhan evacuees. And, that's the first time, I forget when the last time was. I probably have that somewhere here. But, it's incredible of what we are seeing. So there are 168 possible cases under investigation in the U.S., 21 of which are in Illinois. And worldwide, we're just about to go over 10,000, which could happen at any time. I gotta stay on. Oh, okay. Cindy gets to stay on because The client is probably in the chat room. So cool. So, all right. So that's good. So yeah, Illinois right now has the most, what we're hearing, the most cases in the U.S. And again, you gotta make your own decisions, but I would always err on the side of caution. There's still things I'm going to order in from Amazon and try to get everything in, as quickly as you can, because things are going to be, for one, we're going to have shortages. You're going to see that. And shortages, and then, we might end up seeing certain locations. I would not be surprised if we see similar things where, certain buildings are effectively quarantined. And again, I have one friend that's over there, and in a big ass city, and do you try to get on a plane at this point in time? I mean, being on a plane is scary enough, even if you're fully suited up, and try to get back to the States. There's so many decisions we have to make right now, big time decisions.
And personal decisions too. Like Michael was saying, when it comes to our family members that we live with, they're all going to make their own personal decisions too. And it kind of depends on how awake they are. Not everybody's going to be, walking at the same pace, the same rate. Not everyone's going to be on the same page for that matter. But it's a tough one. And we do know a friend who's wondering, do I stay or do I go? And that's quite the predicament. For me personally, I would want to get home. I would absolutely have to get home. So I would risk it. I think my mind and body and my soul is strong enough. If I did get sick, I could kick it. But I feel like if I were away from home, I would wither away and worry. And that would be my demise right there.
And people are talking about goods from China. That's something to consider as well. One of the things that might come from China would be bulk rice. So the last rice I bought, I got from California, and that's why I got it partially. And the other reason why is because it's more nutritionally dense. It's actually sprouted organic rice. So that should be coming today. So again, you might want to think about where things are coming from. Know what you're buying as well. Most definitely things from what we're hearing, these things, it could stay live on surfaces for a long period of time as well. And let's see, just looking at some of your guys' comments. Southeast Tennessee convenience store, nobody knew anything. There's a lot of people that don't look at the news. There's a lot of people that don't follow anything. There's a lot of people that might end up walking around, and saying, where is everybody? When things get super serious and everybody is really bugging in or bugging out. Again, think longer term. And I would set up for basically being able to live on your property, in your house, in your apartment for 6 months. I know it's going to be tough for a lot of people just for a room. And how do you make that happen? But that's, I think, I think that's the minimum that we have to be looking at right now. If they're talking about shutting flights down to the end of April, so they're looking at a 3-month window minimum, and then they'll reassess, obviously. We got to take it seriously.
Yeah, we do. And, sun worshipping, black buffalo, most can't get away, have to keep working, etc. That's true. We do have to keep, living our day-to-day lives. And I'm really curious if it's going to come to a point here where people just stay home and they're like, no, I'll quit my job, just forget it. And I kind of have a sense in some places that might happen. Which would be really, really insane. But, as far as what we're seeing in China and what we're hearing from private sources, it's pretty real, and it absolutely could happen. Oh, thank you. BitShuperus 812, thank you so much. We appreciate your guys' support on every level. Every level. We so appreciate if you could do a thumbs up, and please, 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 if you could please check and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That would be really terrific, because a lot of people get unsubbed. And I think it has a lot to do with what we talk about, which that's what we're going to continue doing. We're going to get the truth out there no matter what it takes. So, but yeah, all of your guys' support is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, Christy Belly is talking about mandatory adult and child vaccine coming to near you. I mean, that's something we'll have to face when it gets there. Very well can. I mean, it very well might be that's going to be, something that we see. U.S. just declared public health emergency over the virus. And, I could pull it up and see what the White House said. Let's see. I think that we really, hopefully everybody has already made preparations, basic preparations. Okay, this is not showing really anything. Trump waives mandatory evacuation for all citizens. As always, they always move so slow. This is definitely something serious. Now here you see China develops rapid coronavirus test that works in under 15 minutes. This is out of RT. Interesting too, because I was looking at RT, and the general feeling is that they're not taking it quite as seriously as I'm seeing some other news sources. So that just raises my hackles a little bit. It gets me wondering, because when you look at some of their stuff, they're covering people making light of it, having end of the world parties, things like that. Chris P, thank you, brother. All flights are okay.
If flights are canceled, what about airmail and packages that come in by the thousands daily out of China? Are those held back too? Probably not. So that's why I've heard people recommend that you use Lysol, or in my instance, I have colloidal silver, and I would spray it with that. So yeah, these things, the virus can stay on stuff for quite some time. And that's something that we need to be aware of and think about.
Yep, most definitely. And there's a comment there that they don't do all this for just 200 people dead. No, they don't. That's for sure. And you see the CDC quarantines 195 Americans that were evacuated from Wuhan. United and Delta allow pilots to decline trips. And then Delta expands China cancellations through April. American also suspends flights. Canada announces fourth case. CDC is quarantining Americans, as we talked about. France successfully evacuated their citizens. Singapore closes the borders to Chinese travelers. And we know Russia did that as well. North Korea did ahead of everybody. We could laugh at that country in many ways with the leadership and all, but still, they shut it down right away. New York City. See, this is what the rumor is here. New York City has reported its first case of coronavirus, according to an unconfirmed report, but then officials came right out and said, nope, not true. They said an Asian man in his 50s was admitted to Elmhurst Hospital with the illness. But maybe it was just the real, not the real flu, but the flu, not the bioengineered flu. Not the bioweapon. And how bad will it get? How bad will it get? And so here you see a chart.
Yeah, with the children that when they shut the school down because 600 kids called in sick. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely crazy. I've never heard anything like that. I know that they've had kind of like a flu day, like once or twice in my life, I've heard of that happening. But 600 kids calling in sick. I'm wondering if any of those are going to come up with coronavirus or not. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff going on, you guys, and it's all kind of leading up to this pinnacle of something or another. And that's why, I feel really fortunate to be able to come on here and share information with you guys that might help save some lives, give you an idea. I think to start prepping now, there's like no better time than the present.
So this gives you a little color designation, and you could see, this doesn't look positive. You could see a lot more countries reporting cases and jumping up. We're still in the early stages of this, most definitely. They all knew, Chinese furious at virus fighting officials who lied about human transmission. They lied, and now it says 200 plus died, but in reality, we could add zeros. And the question is, how many zeros? We don't really know. I'm going to go digging deeper during the day. Yesterday, we had a long trip and stockpiled as well. I think we were pretty wiped out last night. I finally slept through the night, first time in like a week or more, sleeping through the night.
Just say thank you so much, Alienated One. Thank both of you for keeping us informed. Not a problem. It's our pleasure, and we really, really do appreciate you guys coming on, on such short notice lately. I know we've been doing really short notice, but this stuff is important, really important. So, and thank you for your support.
So Rosemary's talking about buy locally sourced organic honey. And actually we could, I don't know, should we go get them? We already have some, but...
We have a big local honey place
here. Yeah, we do. We have we have a local honey place here, literally half a mile down the road. Yeah. And they have all sorts of honey. And, I don't really use any sweeteners, but, honey is good for your immune system. It's definitely a good immune system boost.
Well, I heard there's a reason why. I think it was the Roman people were allowed to pay their taxes in like honey and bee pollen and stuff like that. It's valuable. It holds a lot of valuable stuff to our immune system.
Most definitely. And then here, obviously, is the true number of coronavirus victims far larger than we're being told? Yes. yes. Obviously. And how much larger? How big is this going to get? Because I've talked to, people that were panicked over in Asia and viewing it as literally, you guys ever see the Stephen King movie, The Stand? It's like that, if you can remember back to that, that movie or that book, that's kind of like what they were feeling. It's like, scary, just scary. So it's vastly underreported. We know that, we recognize that.
Yeah, somebody says, and why build a 1,000-bed hospital in days, right? It's pretty serious.
And that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, really, 1,000-bed hospital is a drop in the bucket, compared to how it's spreading. So I got to wonder, was that just for show? Because if you're talking millions and millions of cases, is it just for show? Is it just sort of like, hey, look what we're doing. Look what we could put our mind to when we get it done. Do they need 100 of those hospitals? Do they need 1,000 of those hospitals as Google just starts picking up on my voice again? It's so creepy.
Yeah, it just starts recording us. There was one time I was talking and I turned around and it was going to text my sister whatever I was just talking about, which wasn't really any big deal. It was just creepy how it opened up somebody in my chat and recorded my voice. And, if I'd have hit the phone just the right way, it would have sent it. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. Yeah. Blue blood was from silver from eating utensils. Yeah, we were talking about that too. And I really want to do, we've been so busy just keeping up with this and making our own preps that I haven't had a chance to do some more like in-depth dissecting things type of videos that are really so fun. There's a lot of things going on right now out there, a ton of things going on. And every 100 years you get a pandemic pretty much. 1918, was the Spanish flu. And now we got 2020, so it's been 100 years. And yeah, get out in the sun. I did this morning. I was like, we let Zeke out and it was maybe 60, 61, 62 degrees. And in the sun, because the sun is really strong here, that's where I had my first part of my cup of coffee. And just allow the rays to hit you. It feels so good. We're actually going to be up to about 70 today, which is wonderful. And boy, the sun can definitely help. You need vitamin D.
And it kills bugs too. I had an old housekeeping book, and it said that you should strip your bed back and open your curtains so that it can come in and kill those little bacteria and bugs. So gosh, get out in the sun if you can.
Yeah, most definitely. They'll boost your immune system. And as Kenley says, this is indeed bioweaponry as well. And Wilfred says Steve Quayle on the Hagman Show said it was bioengineered to be as effective as possible. And, we got to wonder what the different the different layers to this as we go in, as the waves come. Because one wave will kind of die out and then you'll get another wave. If it is engineered like that, and it does appear to be, and we talked before about, this is what we started on, the uncanny similarity of these unique inserts in this particular virus that is just like HIV. So, anybody that does survive, now are they going to be effectively immune compromised going forward, like somebody with HIV? And is that part of the bigger picture as well? And because all that leads to people, for the most part, that are on medicines for life, if they don't know of healthy natural alternatives and healthy natural ways of living as well, which is so key right now. I mean, that is so key. Take in live foods, guys. Live foods as much as possible. And, it's going to be tough. Like, we're going to have a period where we won't have too much live food available because there's going to be a gap between what we have stored and then what is going to be being produced, that we're growing. So, just like peppers, for instance, a lot of people don't recognize that peppers are a great source of vitamin C as well. And so, there's a lot of layers to all our preps as well for everybody. And I hope everybody is really on top of their preparations.
Yep. I would say now is a really good time to start at least taking inventory and know what you got. And any little bit of prepping is worth it. Anything you do now is really going to benefit yourself or one of your loved ones in the future. So no matter how small it is, I know a lot of us can't prep for the long term. We probably don't have space, but if you can even get water filters so that you can filter your water, there's a lot of things, stock up on the vitamin C, any little thing you can do is going to be completely worth it in the long run. And, follow your instincts, go within. Now, meditation has been proven to raise our immune system. So that's another one. Plus, I don't know about you guys, but when I meditate, I get these little information packets that sort of drop into my head about things that I've been wondering about. And it's just a nice way to quiet the mind, get information, and boost your immune system. Oh, we got something going on here. So while Michael's looking this up, you guys are kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, it's like sometimes things don't come up on other ones.
Yeah, Trump imposes travel restrictions, mandatory quarantines over carnivorous outbreak. Wow, interesting. Yeah, sometimes we just got this information coming up, which is another good thing to talk about. Wow, Trump imposes finally. Well, I'd like to say better late than never, but it's almost like they did this late thing on purpose. It's exactly like they did it on purpose. It's just so wrong what's going on. And, I think the people above, I don't think they're exactly human. I really don't. Who would do this, And it all looks so deliberate, and they're moving so, it's like slower than molasses in the wintertime. I've never seen something move so slow that's so important.
Yeah, and you see the Dow plummet 600 points. It's going to go more than that probably. This most definitely could be the thing that triggers that massive financial collapse that we've all heard about forever.
Yeah, that we've been talking about forever and kind of waiting for, and we've gotten in trouble over being the conspiracy theorist people. But you know what? Somebody's got to sound the horn. Somebody's got to, and that's okay. I'll take some funny looks and some stuff. If I end up helping one person out of this, then that's fine. That's more than worth it.
So guys, we're going to leave this one at this point. Thank you guys for joining us once again, and we'll do another update later in the day, probably around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern time, probably 9 p.m. Eastern time. Give you an update on what's going on, as we will be basically planting and try to figure out, where we're going to put this, where we're going to put that, and all. So I strongly encourage everybody the same thing. Think about what you got. Think about how stocked up you are. Stock up where you can. Think about anything you've missed. Maybe make a couple lists and check them off. And then think about, okay, long term, what can I grow? What can I really grow? I found grow lights for $17 that are flexible. There's like 2 of them on a rod, and you could like move them around in different locations. And they have different colors on, so they're good for different stages in the plant's life. And I found that I thought those were probably the best buy. I was looking at some bigger ones, but just for our situation, because we're going to have smaller spots inside, like every I'll show you guys what we're doing. I got to go make shelves for the windows. The windows are going to be loaded with plants until it gets good enough outside. And then the problem with here is, we'll go from, 60, 70 degree weather to 100 pretty quick, probably. So then we got to protect them, as well with like, some sunlight diffusion going on. So everybody's got to adjust to their own location. And we definitely have to have at least 3 to 6 months. I would say minimum 6 months. Be ready for 6 months on your own, basically, is what I would say. And that's minimum.
Yeah, and we have a friend of ours. He like grows so many things indoors. He's like super awesome. So you could like have just regular plants in pots and grow some veggies and stuff that way. Make a trellis for some green beans. So there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Most definitely. So thank you guys so much for your support as always, especially on Patreon and Ko-Fi as well. It definitely keeps the channel going. Be prepared, my friends. Take it to another level. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.